Hey everybody, welcome to the course. This is the how to triple your sales by creating posts and photos for your local business. All right, and I'm Thomas Coyle, your instructor, and let's get right into it. Okay, so in this course, you'll be learning how to take high quality photos for your business. Um, Google My Business and a lot of other platforms such as Microsoft's Bing, Amazon's Alexa, and of course the old standby Yelp and some of the other ones, Apple Maps, are taking on more and more relevance in terms of how people are finding businesses today. And we just want to stack the odds because if you have good visual content, you're more likely to get clicked on and get traffic, and also the different search engines are going to rank you a little bit higher than other competing businesses in the local area. So we're going to try and teach you how to do this on your own, and hopefully by the end of the course, you'll have enough skills and knowledge to at least get something up there that is better than your competitors. All right, so let's take a next step here, course outline. So basically, we've broken up this lesson in 6 different modules. In the beginning, I'm just going to sort of give you the brief overview of how to take, what kind of equipment to use, what to consider when you're making your photos, how to get the scheduling and everybody into the right place, right time, how to motivate your team, that kind of thing. Then, of course, you want to edit the photos to create maximum impact. And then lastly, we want to look at the different places that you need to upload and how we're going to optimize them over time. So how many languages do you need to know to communicate with the rest of the world? None. Show them a picture. That's dad joke of the day. Okay. Um, All right, so a little introduction here. We're just going to be talking about the importance of visual content. We're going to talk about the various Google My Business listings and all the other ones that are available out there. We're going to spend some time talking about how you can take your brand, your company, your business, and its story, and use visuals to convey that. So, all right. So here we are. We have the importance of visual content for businesses. Uh, there are some research out there, and I'm sure you'll find more, but I don't think it takes any statistics to really convince me that having great visual content is super important for your business. But Bright Local has looked at profiles and considered, businesses with um, updated profiles and with images as twice as likely to be considered by customers. And businesses with photos get 35% more clicks to the website and 42% more requests for driving directions. So another one is by HubSpot. HubSpot has found that having photos and videos makes you 40 times more likely to stand out on social media. But, I'll give you a little anecdote, and I don't think you need many, but I'm sure you've all looked for businesses online on your phone, and let's look at one company. We'll call it Sally Sandwiches. And they've taken the time to sort of update their photography, and they've, let's see here, let me get my notes up here. And their photos show really amazing looking gourmet sandwiches. It's kind of what you would expect today. The detail looks nice, the color looks nice, and it actually looks like it's fresh. Maybe it's even got steam coming off of it. And obviously, your mouth is watering just thinking about it and looking at it. And on the other hand, the next listing is for Bill's Burgers, who has not taken the time and they just have a generic street view photo from Google, and maybe a handful of customer photos that were taken with their old iPhones. Maybe the photos are a little bit underwhelming, and even if it's an incredibly good burger, maybe the bad photo actually makes it look like it's not a good burger. And I don't know about you, but which one do you guys think most customers will go to? All right. There's always the argument of, oh, some people like more mom and pop. Some people really love to support local businesses. Some people, so on and so forth. But those are um, fringe, right? You want you want to make an impact to the 40%, not to the 2% or the 5%, right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stack those odds for you. Okay. So some online sites that you need to be aware of. Google My Business being the biggest one currently. Bing is coming up because of the Chat GDP, GPT. I don't, I don't know. Chat something. What is it called? Yeah, because Bing is definitely on the rise due to the popularity of Chat GPT, and more that is going to become where people get their answers instead of doing a search where ads are popping up. Alexa, uh, somebody use some people might use that in their home. They might ask Alexa to give an answer, and those things actually pull from Yelp. Um, and Bing also pulls from Yelp. You might want to update your Instagram and Facebook. This is all very important. Um, yeah, so there are different services. Let's see. Okay, so aside from the listings and the directories, you might have some directories that you use specific to your business. If you're a real estate agent, maybe you're using Zillow and Redfin. If you're a designer or a contractor, construction, you might be using House. If you're a photographer or a chiropractor, you might be using Thumbtack. So these are all ones that you got to pay attention to. If you're serving food, please update the one for your food delivery service, and so on and so forth. But there are management tools that are out there that will link to a lot of different ones and kind of do this for you. Yext being sort of the newer one, reputation.com also does that. Some of the older ones are HubSpot, High Level. These are a little bit more, you have to do it on your own, but Yext and reputation.com are currently the ones that people are using. So actually, I'm gonna show you some examples. Okay, so I wanted to show you what happens when I search for myself here. You'll get the result on the side is your Google My Business listing. So here you can see people will be able to see your image that you use as your cover image, and they'll be able to see a street view unless you change that. Um, and it shows you how many reviews, it shows what kind of service, your address, a phone number, how to make appointments. If you have any questions, you can look at more reviews, and you can look at posts that the business has done. There are other connections and also some suggestions. So this is one way that people are getting noticed. If I just type in photographer, and what will come up is some sponsor posts, Snapper being a big one, and then also you'll get this sort of what we call a three block, and here I am at the top of the three block because my location is very close by. And so let's take a look at another way that people are coming in. If you are coming in from a Google Maps, probably from your phone, from an app on your phone, this is kind of what you'll see. And if you click on it, again, you see a big image that the business has defined as their main image. And this is very, very, very important in my perspective, because this is where this is how people want to get to know you. Uh, they don't want to read too much. They just want to be able to click and know exactly what it is that you do. I do portraits. I do interiors. Uh, so I do lifestyle. So it's all here. Very quick, easy for people to see. Um, then they know right away. Bing is another one that you should be aware of. And once you go to Bing and you claim your business, they have this option to sync with Google My Business. Otherwise, it's going to pull from your Yelp page. So if you don't have Yelp set up, this is the way to get it synced up with Google My Business without having to do much extra work. And you can also set it to sync weekly, monthly. I have it set to sync weekly. So speaking of Yelp, you really uh, want to just verify your listing, make sure everything is current. So for Yelp, they do request that you pay for additional services like having a logo, and having multiple reviews. They do sort of, um, uh, I'm not a personal fan of Yelp, but I do have my listing on here. You can do things like pay money to add images, and you can pay money for more call to action, and so on and so forth. But I don't really use it because Google My Business is free, but it is important to update it because several other listings pull from it. There's also Apple. Um, okay, this is called Apple Business Connect, and okay, there you go. So yeah, oftentimes, getting signed into the various platforms is kind of the biggest pain in the neck. But once you're in, you're in. So here we go. I definitely wanted to claim my business. For this one, you can add an image. I've added this image a few times. I'm not sure why it's not sticking. So this is how you show up on the iPhone. If people use Apple Maps, it will when they do a local search, this is what's going to pull up. And you just want to make sure that it looks right. It tells people exactly what it is that you're doing, has different things filled out. It's pulling from Yelp reviews as it is, but if you fill it out, it will update your information. Um, okay, the last one being Amazon Alexa, but for now that's pulling from Yelp, so let's not worry about that until a later time. You also want to make sure your Facebook is up to date, your Instagram is up to date. If you haven't already, you need to create a Facebook. Um, you need to create a Facebook account, a business account, and that's going to allow you to use different things like Ad Manager, the business suite. That's going to allow you to manage your Instagram at the same time. It'll give you a professional dashboard that you can track all sorts of things. So Facebook is still a big deal. So here we are. Let's just go to Quo Photography. And this is what that looks like. You just want to make sure that you fill in every bit of information that you can. This all helps the search find you, and this is all helps you stay relevant. All right, so let's take a look at the last 90 days because this is when I really started to put money into it. So you can see what happened before we started using it, and there was a spike in the beginning because I think the algorithms will try and push you out there to see what your audience is. And then you can see that we have a steady, sort of a steady number of visitors, new Instagram followers. So every time we do a post, we can see what's happening. All right, so part 3 of the first module is the different types of photos that you're going to want. We want to take photos that make sense. So exterior photos, interior photos, product shots, team shots, showing your team all together and also showing them in situations, what we call lifestyle. Lifestyle situations, such as if you're a restaurant, maybe they're cooking, but they're laughing. It's maybe the bartenders having a good time serving clients, or if you have a maitre d', they're hosting somebody or bring somebody in. These are all ways that you can sort of say, who and what you are. There's a variety of expressions and actions that each individual can have, and they all have a variety of empathetic responses from your clientele. So it's very subtle, but we often use symbolism in our own minds when we look at things that are happening in the world. A lot of it happens on the subconscious level, but these are things that you want to start paying attention to about your business, the kind of clients that come in, the aesthetic that they're used to, and the aesthetic that they aspire to, and your photography should push towards that so that you are building rapport with the type of clientele that you're after. Okay. Now let's go back 1 second here. So to talk a little bit more about exterior photos, I mean, these are, I don't mean the landscaping. I mean, they should show the business, show off the business, but make sure you clean it up. You don't want it to look like a mess. And we're going to talk about composition in a little bit, but composition, how you shoot it, how much you show, what do you keep in, what do you crop out? These are all ways to just what we call editing, what we call, I guess, uh, just showing what you want to show. So I want to just briefly take a detour and talk about how photography is really a lie. Um, the reality of life is that time doesn't stop. So the fact that you're stopping time with a photo is a lie because nothing stays in one singular state. It's always in a state of transition. So um, when you make a photo, that frozen time frame is now held up as reality. And that's how our minds think of it. That's at least how our current philosophy, the current ethos around how we look at things. We think of photos as documentation, as the reality of what it is, but it isn't the reality. It's a reality taken out of context. You're able to show this photo on a website next to a bunch of other images. You're able to print it out. You're able to see it on your phone in any sort of situation. So, depending on the context in which the client is viewing the photo, it really matters whether or not you limit the distractions or not. So you want, if you can't get a clean photo of your business exterior, maybe it's of the entire building, maybe it's of the signage, maybe it's of just the seating area or display area, or if an exterior photo doesn't make sense, finding something that does to take its place. Maybe don't show an exterior at all. Interior photo, this also you should take into consideration cleaning it up, organizing the chairs, making sure that it's looking its best. You may say, oh, my brand is more hodgepodge and not fixed up. So I want to have a certain element of things are in use or in transition. That's fine. But when you take the photo, just be judicious about how much, how little. You got to ask the question, is this photo meeting the marketing goals? And is this photo going to say give the type of message that you want your potential clients to see? Does it give them the feeling that they're looking for and the feeling that will bring them ultimately into the store? Product shots. If you are selling products, you have to kind of consider, are you going to shoot it in situ, in the situation that they're supposed to be in, or are you going to take it out of the situation by putting it on a white background? If your product is actually of a service, how do you demonstrate that service with a photo? You want the you want to sort of arrange the room, arrange the action, arrange people's hands or the way they're sitting, what we call cheating. You can always cheat things towards the camera. Like a stage show, you wouldn't have the actors talking to each other. You have the actors start talking to each other, but really turn towards the audience so that they can project. Same thing with your product shots and service shots. You just want to, again, this is telling a little white lie. You want to present it in the best light. If somebody is left-handed, maybe they do it with their right hand so that you can at least show what's being, what needs to be shown. Team photos. Team photos are great. If you have a big team, this is a great way to get people involved and being excited about what's happening with your business. If the people look nice in their photos, they're going to share it with their friends. If you have event photos, that if you hold events, that's great. You want to, show off what the action is. But again, take a lot of photos and give yourself options because oftentimes event photos can look messy. So remember, we're going to get into cropping and editing these images later, so we're going to help you with that. Action shots. This is the lifestyle shots that I'm talking about. If you're a business that does catering or serves food, or you're a hairstylist, these are all ways that you would want to convey the idea that it's fun to work with you. It's very hard. It's kind of funny how our brains work, but a picture does say so much more. And if you have the opportunity to make a video, that's even better. But at the same time, you do want to be careful about how you're presenting these images. Just using client user sort of contributed images may not be your best bet. Here's some examples. This is Keifiko. This is one of my favorite restaurants. And I didn't shoot these photos, but this is definitely how I would go about it. You have close-ups of the food with everything cropped out. It's well lit. The photo has good contrast and it's zoomed in. And then the action shots are well framed. Well framed meaning architecturally correct. If you have a photo of an interior space, what you want is you want the interiors to be square to the image if you can. If it's at an angle, you want at least the vertical lines to be squared up. So the action is very clean, very clear. You know what's happening. The bartender is making drinks before it opens. The server is serving. They have their meat cabinet there. They do a lot of pastas and meats. So these are all good photos. And even their exterior shot, it's in San Francisco. It may not be the best exterior, but they do have a fun sign and they've done it in such a way to minimize the background obstructions so you just see what it is. And they even interspace some black and whites in there just to kind of give it dynamics on their website, right? So here's an example of what not to do. Obviously, this is a totally different type of an establishment, and we're kind of picking a dramatic difference here, but you can sort of tell what I mean by that. This exterior is just shot and without much concern for what's around it. Um, they have their typical signage out, but they could really crop in to take advantage of um, certain ways that they can show the space, and maybe even with better lighting. They have their menu posted, but it's just taped to the window. So if, as a business, maybe they want to create nicer menus or purchase an IKEA frame for $9 and get those framed up. And their signage is old and fallen apart, and they have shot it with a rusty awning in front and with power poles in the back, which is not necessarily bad given the state of the sign. But if you just moved a little bit to your right, maybe you can get just the sky in the background. And with a little photoshopping, maybe you can remove some of the other cables and wiring that's running there. The front image of the window, the shop window, has some signs just leaning there. Maybe if they did end up doing some nice shots um, of their pies, they could actually put their pies out there. I don't know if the signs are generic pies that they just purchased, and also the pizza boxes. What's something to note about pizza is often it's made fresh and the dough is made fresh. And so you do want people to kind of look in and see what you're doing. And also, if you have a sign that is supposed to be on, having it off um, is just saying we're closed. So these are some mistakes to avoid. Leaving also the food shot, leaving it to your customers to upload shots isn't always the best. I can see how maybe someone thought, oh, look at this beautiful side light. But guess what? The photographer using their phone didn't bother to wipe their fingerprints from the lens of the camera. So you got this low contrast shot, and they shot it too far away. So the image quality is really poor. And maybe you want to have a nice looking bite, or you want to leave some pizza on there so you can tell the quality of the cheese and the ingredients, and maybe not the leftover pieces of basil or whatever that is sitting on the box. So there's a ton of ways that you could do better if you just learned a few tricks. And we're going to try and get you to be able to do this on your own. All right, planning your photo shoot.